Sports Talk. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. It's me, your boy, Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk in the house. Happy Sunday morning. It's week 18, the final week of the NFL season. Lots to tackle this week, man. Like, we got some playoff spots still available, some games that I want to talk about yesterday. Also, Antonio Brown at it again, this time taking shots at Tom Brady. Is he keeping it 100? I'll give you my thoughts on that. Also, some teams that are going fishing, even though the season's not officially over yet, but we know for a fact that they're eliminated from any playoff contention. I want to talk about those teams and what their future has in store for them. Also, my final power rankings of the season. Some things have changed. Some teams have elevated. Some teams have dropped. I'll let you in on that. Also, my clutch picks of the week. Man, I'm just looking to get 500. I got to go undefeated this week to get back to the top, or at least back at 500. So what? Hey, it is what it is, man. Hey, without further ado, man, this is Clutch Sports Talk Live, NFL Sunday morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. So, welcome in, everyone. Happy morning, happy good afternoon, good morning, wherever you guys are listening and watching the show right now. We are available live on YouTube. Make sure if you haven't subscribed to my channel, man, do so. I appreciate it. It's 2022, trying to get some things going on the YouTube channel. So I need your help. I need you to like, share, comment, and follow, and let me know what's going on. Let me know what you guys think of the show. What can I do to improve it? But hey, without further ado, man, let's get straight into it. So today, it's the final week of the season. Obviously, we got some storylines, some final games for players like Big Ben Roethlisberger. Is it the final game for Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll for the Seahawks, and some other teams that come, some other names that come across my mind? But I want to talk about, first things first, the games that happened yesterday. The first game out west between the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs ended up pulling off the victory, 28-24, if I'm not mistaken. Look, I don't think there was any doubt that the Chiefs weren't going to win the game. They still had the better quarterback. They still had the better big playmakers on the field. Now, the Broncos did have a very, 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 very great. I would say they played valiantly, basically. Now, their coach ended up, Vic Fangio, getting fired this morning, which I don't believe is a shocker to most people. I don't think he's a bad defensive coordinator, but maybe not so much a head coach. So the Chiefs, again, though, giving up over 20 points towards the end of the season. They gave up so many points last week against the Bengals, and then this week to Denver Broncos and Drew Lock, who, let's be real, we all don't think Drew Lock is the number one guy in Denver or anywhere, or any team in the National Football League, right? Nonetheless, so some concern there again, even though that defense had been playing pretty well. They got healthy a little bit, but now they're still giving up points. Now, their weakness has always been their secondary. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Their strong point in that defense is the front seven. They can get after the quarterback. They got guys down there that can do so, but we all know if they play a team that can pass and has really, really good receivers, there's no telling what that team could do and carve up that Kansas City secondary. So some concern that if you're a Chiefs fan, hopefully, you won't have to play a lot of teams in the playoffs that will pass the ball like that. But we'll have to wait and see, because they are still jockeying for that number one seed. They had a chance to lock it up last week, but they didn't do so. They lost to Cincinnati. Now the Tennessee Titans can wrap up the number one seed in the AFC today with the win over the Texans. So the Chiefs will have to sit and wait on the outcome of that game later on this afternoon. All right. So moving along, the Dallas Cowboys also played the doubleheader yesterday on ESPN, Monday Night Football / Saturday Night Football, whatever you want to call it. Now, the Eagles were missing about 16 guys on injured reserve or COVID, notably on their defense, their secondary, and their front line, with Fletcher Cox did not play. Also, Jalen Hurts did not play. In return, Gardner Minshew got the start. Now, for the most part, Dallas Cowboys played most or all, if not all, their starters, with the exception of Tony Pollard guys on offense, because he was out due for a foot injury. Some other guys tested positive and were in the COVID protocol. But nonetheless, they still pulled off the win, like 51-26, something like that. So now they did play a lot of backups, and not a lot of, I'm not going to go on here and say, look, like they're a war-beating offense again. All of a sudden, they played backups. They played secondary guys, third guys. It is what it is. Now, Dak did set a franchise record for throwing 5 touchdowns in a game. Granted, it was against the backup, so I'm not going to say, wow, like he really just killed the game. So, I mean, to his credit, he still had to throw the passes. Still a little bit concerned of his accuracy. A lot of throws were behind receivers. Some guys had to make really good plays in order to make those catches. But nonetheless, they got the job done. Running game was so-so. But I think they made a point getting Amari Cooper a little bit more touches. CeeDee Lamb got more involved. So I think for them, they did not want to sit their guys because they knew that sitting them would break up any type of consistency or what you call it, just getting them in a lather in a sense. Like they did not want to stop the flow. They wanted to keep playing to keep that momentum going, and they had the momentum. So guys like Cedric Wilson got in the game yesterday. He got 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving. Some other running backs got into play right there. So we'll see what happens now. It looks like they are on the track to play the Arizona Cardinals again, depending on what happens today. Now the Cowboys will need help in order to basically stay at the number 2 position. Right now, I believe they're 4th. They're 4th right now in the NFC, which has them aligned again with the rematch for the Arizona Cardinals. So maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe they have a feeling like, you know what? We could beat the Cardinals. We had them, for one, we had them, but they had opportunities to beat the Cardinals and they didn't get it done last week. And so, listen, they're going to need help from the Cardinals today, the Rams, and I believe Tampa Bay would have to lose today in order for the Cowboys to get that 2nd seed. So, honestly, I think they're okay. I think they're fine with being the 4th seed. I mean, here's the thing with the Cowboys. It's a catch-22 with them. Like I said on my show last week, Sunday, they're one of the most inconsistent teams. It's either if you see them clicking on all cylinders, they are a dangerous team. But the problem is with the Cowboys is that they don't click on all the cylinders all the time. And so if you're a team, you could be afraid of the Cowboys, but then you can also say, you know what? Dak's not always that consistent. The play calling isn't that consistent. They have a lot of penalties. The Cowboys are the most penalized team in the National Football League, if I'm not mistaken, especially on the offensive line, pre and post snap. And what I mean by pre and post snap, I'm talking about false starts or unnecessary roughness, personal fouls. Now, they do have a lot of holds, but hey, holding is pretty much subjective by the referees, but a lot of post and pre-snap penalties that they have to minimize. And at this point, I think they are what they are. I don't think that's going to change. So somehow, some way, they're going to have to overcome that when you play really good teams in the playoffs, because it's the playoffs. And like Dak said yesterday at the end of the game, he said the real shit starts now. And it does start now. It's win or go home. And as a Cowboy fan, I don't want to see them bounced out in the first round. But like I said on my Monday show last week, I can foresee that happening if they don't play consistently and they don't play complementary football. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with the Cowboys. But I mean, look, they went undefeated in the division. I think that's the first time any team has done that since like 2017, 18, something like that. So they went 6-0. Granted, the NFC East is not the strongest division, but is it one of the weakest? Yeah, it's one of the weakest. I don't think it's the weakest. I mean, there's a competition for other divisions out there, but hey, it is what it is. The Cowboys won the division, so they're moving on. The worst they can finish is the 4th seed, and so we'll just have to go from there and see what happens with them. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So anyway, so those were the games that happened Saturday. I think the NFL, they tried to make it compelling. I just don't think that those were the right games you wanted to put on primetime. Me personally, I think there were some other matchups out there that you probably could have put on that probably would have got more rings, because look, the Cowboys already wrapped up their playoff contention. So did the Eagles. The Eagles really didn't have much to gain. I think maybe move up in the spot to the 6th, but I think they're fine with where they're at. And then they had a lot of guys not playing anyway. So to me, I just was like, it is what it is. And then the Broncos and the Chiefs needed to win, obviously, to stay on pace to be the number 1 seed. But the Broncos season was done too. So both teams weren't really vying for much. And so it is what it is. So, but today we got some games that are gonna pretty much, it's gonna decide everything. And then the Sunday night game is gonna be a big one if the Colts take care of the Jags on the road, which they haven't won in Jacksonville, I believe, in 2014. That's a long time. So we'll see what happens with that anyway. So all right, moving along. I got to talk about AB, man. He's in the news again. Obviously, a couple days ago, he was on a podcast. I forgot the name of the podcast, but like he was interviewed, and the Tom Brady situation came up, and he said basically, like, look, like Tom is my friend only because I play football, and I don't think this is gonna sound crazy, but I don't disagree with him. This is probably one of the only times, if the only time, I would agree with statements made by Antonio Brown. Listen, it's very simple. We all do it. We all use people to do certain things or to get a certain situation or to have things go in our favor. That's just human nature. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean you're terrible. It just is what it is. It's a common human nature attribute that we use. Okay. Now, Tom Brady is the ultimate competitor, one of the ultimate competitors. He is willing to do anything and everything to win. Okay. He had AB come stay with him in his house, with his family, around his fine wife. Come on. What guy's gonna if he doesn't want to win, right? AB and Tom Brady, you would never see them just hanging out like that. Why? Because they're two different people. But the common thing that brings them together is the fact that Tom Brady wants to win just as bad as anybody. And for a small window, they both needed each other to do certain things. AB needed to get back in the league. Tom Brady, who could vouch for him, got him on Tampa Bay, got him his first Super Bowl ring. Tom got his first Super Bowl ring outside of New England, so they both helped each other. They both washed their hands with each other. So I know people are up in arms. Like, oh my God, AB, yeah, he's at it again. It's not something that he probably should be saying out in public, but what we know about this guy, he's a clown. He's gonna say whatever. Now I guess he has a rap video. I mean, he's not that credible, but I will say in this particular instance, I agree with what he's saying because it's a fact. Tom Brady doesn't really care if AB wasn't a great football player. He could care less. But because AB is a great football player and could help Tom Brady, of course he's going to do whatever he needs to do in order to get him to play. So I don't have a problem with him saying what he's saying. I just have a problem at the timing with everything that's been going on. Now, if he was a model citizen of sorts, then it would be okay. But at the end of the day, I don't have any problems with him saying what he said. It's a fact. It's the truth. It's the truth because we all do it. We all do it. We all say certain things or we connect with certain people in order to help ourselves to gain an advantage. Like I said, maybe not all the time, but you've done it at some point in your life. So I don't want to. I don't understand why people. And this is the society that we live in today. It's like we all throw stones in glass houses. Like you cannot speak on what someone else is saying if you've done the same thing somewhere in your past at some point in some time. So I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. It is what it is. We all know AB ain't perfect. So that's a fact. So did he throw Tom under the bus? Me personally, I don't think so because I knew Tom Brady is like that anyway. You can just tell the kind of guy he is. Like guys like that, to be great as Tom Brady is, you have to be a jerk. That's a fact. Most great people are jerks. We got one comment already in the house. He said, very funny. The person who uses people is crying about being used. Right, right. So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So it's like he's crying about being used too, and put that comment on there. Barry, you're absolutely right. Because AB used him too. So, but Tom is going to take the high road. He's not going to say anything because Tom's going to be like, dude, I got the rings, I have the statue, I'm a Hall of Famer. It is what it is. But like I said, I don't have a problem with AB saying what he's saying because it's a fact. But the other fact is that AB does use people too. So that's just the way of the world. Okay. He's using other platforms right now to get his message across. He wants to use the NFL to make money, to be seen. That's just the way of the world. That's just the way of the world. So, but like I said, Tom Brady is a jerk. Of course, you have to be a jerk in order to be great. You think of guys like Kobe, guys who are great at what they do. You have to have some jerk to you in order to be that great because that's who you are and you're willing to do any and everything. I mean, personally, would I have let AB stay in my house? He's a millionaire. No, dude, go stay at a La Quinta Inn somewhere down the road. We'll hook up on the field, but you're not staying in my house. Look, so Tom went out of his way in a sense, but in order to use AB to win a championship, and AB used Tom to get back in the league. So I'll leave it at that. I'm done talking about AB unless he does something outlandish, which could be right around the corner. The day is still young, and we'll see what happens. So all right, moving right along. There are some teams that we know for a fact that have been eliminated from playoff contention automatically or mathematically. We've known that for quite some time. But there are 5 teams that I really wanted to talk about and discuss with you guys in regards to what they probably should do and what probably potentially could happen. So these teams are going fishing. So first team that comes to mind, Denver Broncos. Yesterday they lost. They fired their coach, which Vic Fangio this morning, which I knew was going to happen. That should have happened. Vic Fangio, fine defensive coordinator, but a head coach, maybe not so much. What do? Obviously, we know they need a quarterback. Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, those are not the guys. Now, I think they screwed the pooch. They probably should have taken Justin Fields instead of taking Patrick Surtain Jr., who has been a fine player, but we all know quarterback will win you games, will win you championships, even though I do like Surtain Jr., but let's just be real. He's not making a difference in that organization as far as wins and losses. I got impact like that. So they had a chance to get a quarterback. They decided not to. They took the corner, and there we go. They're still stuck. And honestly, this draft class in the quarterback year coming in this draft is not the great. It's not the best. It's not the best. I mean, there might be a guy in there, maybe a Matt Corral, maybe the kid out of Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett, and there might be some other guys. The kid out of Liberty, I forgot, Malik Willis. Who knows? But are those guys franchise quarterbacks? Who's to say? I don't know. But definitely this year, this upcoming draft is not a very strong quarterback class. So we'll have to wait and see. The other team that comes to mind is Seattle Seahawks. What's going to happen with Russell Wilson? Is he going to look for a trade? Is he looking to get out of there? Has his time run out of there? They got the new offensive coordinator that he requested. Obviously didn't work out. He missed some time this year due to injury. Pete Carroll's been there a while. He's pushing 80, if I'm not mistaken. Are guys in the locker room not hearing his message anymore? Have they done a lot? Look, they gave contracts to guys especially like Jamal Adams, a guy who's a safety, and defensive linemen have more interceptions than he does. It gave him a lot of money to get him from New York. So the defense is, I don't even think that good anymore the way it used to be. So that whole coaching staff needs to be revamped. So what do I see in the future? There's a good chance that Pete Carroll probably retire. Russell Wilson, I think they can probably reboot it if they commit to obviously protecting him, and they got to get him some more weapons. They got to get him some more weapons. And I don't know if the offensive coordinator that Russell Wilson really picked is the guy for them, but I think Pete Carroll probably has to go first because look, sometimes that happens in coaching, man. Like you lose your voice. You lose your voice. It happens to me all the time too. As a coach, I've coached a lot of positions over my coaching career, and sometimes I've been able to be like, you know what, I'll let another coach come in and take this spot, and I'll move on to somewhere else within the team because maybe the kids don't hear me anymore. And what I mean by that is like they hear me, but they don't feel me like that. So maybe I just need to move on, clean slate, and that's what the Seahawks need to do because you can't lose Russell Wilson. You can't. He's still a good player. Is he great like he once was? I mean, this was a bad season for him, of course. It was a very bad season for him, but is he still a great player? Yes, I think he still can be a great player, barring no injury, but the situation has to be right. And I don't know what they're going to do, but I think if I'm the GM in Seattle, you have to keep Russell Wilson because if not, you don't have a quarterback. You basically have nothing. You have nothing. You're in the cold, stuck, looking in from the outside. So I don't know. Next team, Cleveland Browns, a team that is very talented on offense and defense, but of course the quarterback play has just been atrocious for them the last year. Now Baker had some strides last year, showed us a little something, but it's not going to work. He was selected number 1 overall. Should he have been a number 1 overall pick? Probably not, but you know how it goes, man. You win the Heisman, you get your name out there, it boosts your stock. And the Browns took him when they probably should have taken like a Lamar Jackson, somebody like that, or a Justin Herbert. Were they the same draft class? No, not Justin Herbert. I'm sorry, like a Lamar Jackson. Excuse me, guys like that. So the Browns, I feel, are still in a good position. You're in a division where the Steelers will be looking for a new quarterback, of course. The Bengals, can they sustain what they've done this year into next season? Maybe not. I don't know. Still a young quarterback, still a young coach, still a young tandem between Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Who knows? The Baltimore Ravens are a wild card because they're going to go as far as Lamar Jackson will take them. Now, they were plagued with a lot of injuries, and I don't have them on this Gone Fishing because I feel like they can still reboot. I don't think there's a lot of questions in Baltimore. It just depends on the health of Lamar Jackson. So that's why I left them off this. But as far as the Browns are concerned, look, this team is ready to go now. They're ready to go now. They just need a really good quarterback. Honestly, you keep Baker Mayfield around because there's really nothing else. I mean, and I know I've been documenting saying they need to be done with him, but this is what you do. You hold on to him right now. You don't give him the money that he wants. You hold on to him until you find someone else that you can pay out, right? Basically, you're gonna pimp him out. Unfortunately, that's that's the best term I can think of, is to pimp him out right now until you can get the right quarterback, a franchise quarterback that can come and take you guys to the next level. Because Baker Mayfield is not going to be that guy, right? He's not going to be the guy. He makes way too many progressive commercials, and he's not even that great of a player. So he'll probably lose that here in a minute too, because progressives going to look at that and be like, yeah, man, like you're not even that good anymore. So we rode that train. It's time to get off. So I mean, the biggest thing for the Cleveland Browns is the quarterback. I think your coach is fine. Your offense, you got some weapons. Maybe add another receiver to help Juice Landry, but you got a good running game, and your defense is pretty solid. You know, they got to get healthy again, but so far you're okay. All right, moving on. Minnesota Vikings, a quarterback too with them. Is Kirk Cousins your guy? Is he part of the problem why they lose? Yes, but he's part of the reason why they win too. He's another catch-22 type of guy. You're damn if you do and damn if you don't. They have a great running back in Dalvin Cook. Zimmerman is like Pete Carroll. He's been there a while. They probably need to get another voice in that organization. They need to switch things up. You have Justin Jefferson. You have Adam Thielen. You got guys. You got offensive guys that can help you score. So they're probably going to, honestly, you're going to have to switch over to an offensive-minded guy for a head coach. It's work. You look at most of all the playoff teams, right? With the exception of a couple, most of them are offensive-minded guys. That's what wins in this league. Sean McVay had a very good model a couple years ago when they made the Super Bowl. He's an offensive guy. So what do? You hire one of the best defensive minds in the game, and you let him say, you just say, hey, go and do that, man. Wade Phillips, I'm going to run the offense. I don't even want to care about the defense. You go run that. You go take care of that. And they made a Super Bowl run. Now, they fell short, but still, that's what you got to do, man. These defensive coaches, I don't think they can wrap their minds around offense that well, and they struggle a lot. Now, you know, when I look at these playoff teams, they're most of, like I said before, if not most all are offensive-minded guys, with the exception of like Sean McDermott's, Bill Belichick's, guys like that. But they do have some offensive talent on those teams. But for the most part, most of these teams are offensive driven, and that's the football we live in today. So, you know, that's why Vic Fangio is getting fired. That's why probably a lot of other guys are going to get fired, because they're not gifted. They can't cultivate quarterbacks. You have to be able to cultivate a quarterback if you're a head coach in the National Football League. That's a fact. That's a fact, right? And guys like Vic Fangio, Greg Sala, the Jets hired him. Like, he's not going to last there very long, because he's not a quarterback cultivator, and he didn't bring in guys that have been known to do that, right? That's the problem. Greg Sala, whatever his name is, Sala, probably a great defensive coordinator, but I don't know if he'll be able to take the Jets. And the Jets are a mess. And I didn't put them on there because there's no reason talking about the Jets, to be honest with you, because those are not the teams that are like on the cusp of being good again. So, but as far as the Vikings are concerned, you got to make a change at Zimmerman. You have to probably bring in another quarterback. But again, this draft class is not very strong. Free agency is pretty not going to do too much. Yeah, Deshaun Watson might be out there for a trade, but then you still got to deal with the legal situation and possible suspension coming from the league. So who knows what's going to happen with that? But definitely the coaching that needs to go. Their defense isn't that bad either. They got some guys on there, but it all starts with the coach and the quarterback. And right now, you don't have a combination of those two that will produce a lot of wins. And let's be real, the Vikings are not a bad team. They've lost a lot of games by close margins. So they're in these games. They just can't finish it just because they just can't. So it is what it is. So, you know, for the Vikings, again, coaching, quarterback play, that's what I need to see them do in order for them to maybe, you know, make that next level to be a contender, right? And the final team that came across my mind was the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, Matt Ryan could probably still play some football, but it's definitely time to move on from him. They had opportunity to get a quarterback. They picked high in the draft this last season. They went ahead and got Kyle Pitts, who's been a phenomenal player. I believe he made the Pro Bowl. But again, this is a quarterback-driven league. You won't do anything unless your quarterback is dynamic. And right now, Matt Ryan is not that dynamic anymore. He's a former MVP, made the Super Bowl. They should have won the Super Bowl, but they blew it. But nonetheless, I think he could be a really good backup, a guy that I think he's an ultimate competitor. But if you bring in another quarterback, you can help him, You can help that quarterback by having a Matt Ryan on your team. They got two really good corners, or at least one for sure. AJ Terrell, who doesn't get a lot of publicity because he doesn't get a lot of interceptions. A lot of you guys, these nerds out here that are really big on the yards, giving up by a DB, which is fine. I understand that. But AJ Terrell is definitely one. He is a lockdown corner. He's not like Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs is a ball hawk. It's different type of players. AJ Terrell is a lockdown corner, but not helping his team much. They're still losing a lot of games. One of their best players is probably their kicker. Young Koo Ho, whatever his name is. I forgot. But for the Falcons, I think the coach but needs another year or two probably to see, but this is the problem in the NFL. You don't have a year or two in some situations. So they're going to have to figure out a way to kind of, I don't think you get rid of Matt Ryan, because if you get rid of him, who you have that's comparable or better to Matt Ryan at this point? That's what you have to consider if you're a team that's looking for a quarterback upgrade. Well, what do? Because at the end of the day, you're still going to lose if you get a guy that's less than what Matt Ryan is, or Russell Wilson, or Baker Mayfield. So who's out there on the market? Who's a free agent? Again, Deshaun Watson situation again might be in play. Who knows what's going to happen with that? But those are the teams, the 5 teams that I feel like could make a jump next year if they draft correctly, if they play the free agent game right, and we'll just have to see what happens there with that. So we're moving along here. You know what? I forgot to load something on here. One of my picks of the week, which have just not been. But before I get to the picks of the week, I definitely got to do my power rankings, because man, I'm just getting killed, dude. I am just getting killed. I went 1-3 last week. I've been 1-3 the last 2 weeks, so I'm 2-6. I don't know what's happening this year. I just feel like it's been a mess for me. It's been a mess. So I need to go undefeated today in order to be at least finish the regular season 500. Now I'm going to do some picks for the playoffs, but I pride myself on trying to be right more often than not. And for whatever reason, I just wasn't this year. But it happens, it is what it is. But anyway, moving right along, we're going to go straight into the power rankings. This is the final power rankings of the season. And I might do a playoff power rankings too, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how I feel, right? So number 1, I still have Green Bay. Why? Because they have Aaron Rodgers. That's it. Now, some people will question their defense. Of course, I understand their defense isn't the greatest, but Aaron Rodgers is that guy that can erase a lot of those problems, right? Number 2, the Tennessee Titans have skyrocketed back up. They're going to probably end up being the number 1 seed in the AFC, so I got to give them some love for that. They're a team, though. They're well coached, and who knows? Maybe they get Derrick Henry back. Now, he hasn't been activated yet, but who knows? He hasn't played since, I believe, October. So we'll have to wait and see. But they're well coached. They play pretty sound defense. And A.J. Brown, who's been healthy last couple of weeks, have gotten in a nice rhythm with Ryan Tannehill. So, they're a team you don't want to see. I know Barry says, I love the Titans. I do. Man, I've been on the Titans wave for the last couple of years. I like their coaching. I like what they do. They play a really, really nice style of football that I love to watch. They run the football. They play action. They play hard. They're well coached, and those are attributes that I like about them, especially in the AFC. I mean, listen, they've beaten pretty much most of these teams in the AFC. So for teams to come to Nashville, if this is how it's going to play out, they have a good chance. The only team I feel like right now maybe can go up with them and is the Chiefs, because they have that firepower. The Chiefs definitely, who are coming in at number 3, good segue, they are volatile. They are like radioactive material, right? They can go off at any point. That's the thing. So you always have to be very concerned with the Chiefs, because they have that ability to go down the field if need be. They got those weapons. But back to the Titans, I still like their chances. And don't let them get Derrick Henry back. They might be a team that you don't want to see come playoff time. And Mike Vrabel is a very underrated coach. A lot of people don't give him a lot of credit. At least from the media posts that I've seen or social media, I don't see him getting a lot of credit as like coach of the year type stuff. And I could just be looking at the wrong places, but I like this team. I really like this team. So we'll see what happens. And the Chiefs, I talked about them a little bit. My concern for them is the defense, really, but their offense can kind of still score a lot of points, keep you honest. So they'll always have a chance. The Rams playing really good football, really, really good football. Matt Stafford, he is what he is. Right? He'll give you a really good game or he'll give you a bad game. Now, he threw 3 interceptions last week. They still beat the Baltimore Ravens. So that's Matthew Stafford's game. That's what he is. So I don't think he can be an MVP that way, but he's a very good player. He's an upgrade over Jared Goff, but to me, he's not that much more of an upgrade. Like, he can throw the ball a lot better than Jared Goff, but the Rams are basically they're gonna have to find a way to come back from his mistakes, because it's going to happen. That's what he is. That's what he's done all season. So, not throwing hate at him, but the addition of OBJ, that connection they got going. OBJ's got like 6 or 7 touchdowns in the last couple weeks, which is phenomenal. I think he's the difference maker. I've been on record saying that. I love Cooper Kupp, but OBJ is the difference maker on that team. If he is going, the Rams will go very far because OBJ has that type of talent. I think Cooper Kupp, he's worked hard to get where he's at, but naturally OBJ is just a more gifted wide receiver. And I think guys like that who are dynamic, who are stars like that, they're going to be able to take you over the top. So the Rams are playing really well. They're a team that I don't want to see either. Excuse me. Von Miller doing this thing now. Darren Donald, Little Floyd, they're doing stuff over there. So we'll have to wait and see with them. Dallas Cowboys, they shot up. They're number 5. Still a little bit inconsistency issues with me. Don't know what's going to happen with them. I don't know. They have all the talent to beat all these teams on this top 10 power rankings. No question. But it'll come down to Dak and the play calling of Kellen Moore. And the offensive line. Can they not have so many penalties? Can they not have holding, false starts, illegal shifts, all the stupid things that kill games for you? Can the Cowboys overcome that? I'm not sure. I really don't believe so, but I had them 5th because of the talent just alone. So we'll have to wait and see with them. The Buccaneers, Antonio Brown gone, Chris Godwin out, Mike Evans, he's probably banged up a little bit. It's gonna have to, Leonard Fournette. Look, they're battered right now. They're definitely a battered team. Tom Brady is good. I don't know if he can overcome this season. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens with them. So I have them at number 6. The Buffalo Bills, to me, good story. They bounced back. They had a stretch where they were losing. I think they lost like 2-3 in a row. Then they won some big games against the Patriots. But to me, I still don't trust Josh Allen in these big games. So we'll see what happens come playoff time. And Arizona Cardinals, even though they beat my Cowboys, I feel like the Cowboys were still the better team. It's just the Cowboys just couldn't get in their way of themselves. The Cardinals are still reliant on Kyler Murray a lot. Don't know the status of DeAndre Hopkins, what's going to happen with him. James Conner as well, too. This team can be had. You can make plays on them because Vance Joseph is a very aggressive blitz caller. He will blitz. He will send the house. Can you match up with that? I think the Cowboys didn't do a good job of that until later on in that game. And I think if they see each other again, it'll be a different story. The New England Patriots, nice win over the Jacksonville Jaguars, but come on, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. It is what it is. Not going to be like, oh my God, Mac Jones to me is going to be the deciding factor in that team making a Super Bowl or having a deep run in the playoffs because he's a rookie. I understand that. And he's limited as far as his throwing down the field. So that's why I have the Patriots at 9. Even though the defense is superior, top 5 defense, it's a quarterback-driven league, and you got to have a guy that can throw the ball 20 yards down the field when needed. And finally, the Indianapolis Colts, I should have kicked them out. They lost to the Raiders. Now, the Raiders are playing pretty good football. They got a big game tonight, but Carson Wentz, to me, again, I don't know, man. Jonathan Taylor, great player, but running backs can be slowed down. You have to throw in the National Football League. You have to throw. You have to throw at some point. And to me, they're inconsistent. They win games that they shouldn't win, and they lose games that they shouldn't lose. But they should. I think they should make the playoffs. They will make the playoff. But I just don't. There's something about them too. They're just lacking. I mean, they're 9-7 or whatever their record is, 9-8. It's the reason why they lost 7 or 8 games. It's a fact. It's a fact. So there's something about them. I'm not going to put them up in the top 5 because their record is what their record is. So as simple as that. So that's where we're at with that. So that's my top. That's the final. That's the final rankings of the season. I'll probably do a playoff one. We'll see how that goes. But before we get out of here, I got to do the clutch picks of the week, man. I got to go 4-0, man. I only did it twice this year. So here we are. I got the Atlanta Falcons to cover at 3.5. They were on my Gone Fishing team. They got some talent on that team. So we'll see what happens with them. I got the Rams covering at -3.5. They got a big matchup against the 49ers today against Jimmy Garoppolo. They should cover that. I think they should. And then the Jets at +16. The Jets are not a good team. I think it's happened quite a bit this year, but it's very hard for a team to lose by more than 2 touchdowns in the National Football League. Now, the Jags have done it. Texans have lost but I think the Jets have been in some games. I think they're gonna have some fight in them, so they'll lose, but I don't think they'll lose by more than 16. And then finally, I got the Dolphins. They're good. I think they're heading to England to lose +6. The Dolphins, nice story. They probably won't. I don't think, are they in playoff contention? I don't know. I think they need a lot of help too. Nice story, but Tua is not their guy. He's not their guy. Now, they won a lot of games, but look at the schedule and those 7 or 8 games that they won in a row. They weren't playing anybody that was like, oh my God, we need to really be concerned about the Miami Dolphins. We need to be concerned about the other teams. Tua's nice kid, could play in the National Football League, but he's not the guy. So, but we'll have to wait and see. So those are my picks of the week. So I got Falcons, Rams, Jets, and Dolphins. I need to go 4-0 to finish at 500. So yeah, that's it, man. So we're just under 30 minutes before all the games start getting kicked off. That's the final Clutch Sports and NFL Sunday morning show for the regular season. So I'll be back next week. We got the playoffs going on. Depending on the schedule, I might have to do one earlier just to guys give you a preview. But other than that, man, that's out. That's it. I'm out of here, man. Make sure you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Catch my Clutch Sports Talk live show tomorrow. We'll recap what happened here on Sunday. I got a special guest tomorrow that you guys don't want to miss out. Hopefully he can make it. I won't give it out right now. But other than that, man, hey, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Be kind to everybody. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. I'll see you guys later. Peace.